Schedule 1 just hit its 1-year anniversary, and in that time, I've racked up nearly 2,000 hours of playtime. And here's the thing, this game looks simple, but underneath the surface, it's secretly stacked with hidden mechanics and stuff the game never tells you about. So today, I'm breaking down all 40 tips and tricks that I've picked up over a full year of grinding Schedule 1. And don't get it twisted, this isn't just a beginner video. I've got tips for both fresh faces and seasoned veterans, so no matter how long you've been playing, I guarantee you'll walk away knowing something new. And if you're enjoying the content, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. I've been doing this for a long time now. I absolutely love Schedule 1, and I put out videos nearly every single week about the game. With that out the way, let's get into it. We're gonna kick things off with the early game. Now, spoiler alert, the RV does blow up, but there's nearly $400 worth of equipment just sitting there. So after you harvest the weed in the 2 pots, you should completely empty out the RV, taking everything that's not bolted to the ground. These 2 pot setups can carry you all the way through the early game, from the motel to the sweatshop straight to the bungalow, without you ever needing to buy a grow tent. Now after you get those pots set up in the motel, you want to head over to the basketball court, because leaning against the fence right there is the best weapon in the game, the baseball bat. It's easily accessible, good damage, and best of all, it's completely free. In Schedule 1, you always want to make sure you have a weapon on hand, either to deal with the cops or in case you get jumped by some of the Benzies. And speaking of those boys in blue, did you know that they're one of the best sources of early game income? Every cop carries a Service M1911 and a magazine, both of which can be pawned at Mix for around $1,300 each. Which means if you take out the entire police force, you can start the game with a quick and easy $13,000. But there's even more free cash in the early game. Use that bat you picked up to go around and smash all of the ATMs and Cuke machines. Every time you break one of these bad boys, you'll get a mountain of free cash. Next up is a jump glitch that's sure to get you out of almost any situation. By spamming the spacebar a bunch of times, you can complete a glitched double jump that will send you up to the roof of tall buildings in a single quick move. Just make sure it's one that the cops can't get up to. Now, the early game money pinch does go pretty hard, so every dollar counts. Once you hit 1,500 cash, there's no reason to buy a skateboard when you could get it for free. Just jump up and crouch at the same time to get over the counter into the skate shack. Take out Jeff with a few well-placed swings and put that money to good use elsewhere. Now, if you're struggling with transferring money and product to all your shelves and equipment, this one is for you, because if you hold shift and press the right mouse button, you can transfer an entire stack of items from one inventory to another. For example, from your inventory to a dealer, or move $1,000 at a time from your cash balance to a supplier drop box. And if you don't want to move an entire stack, you can use the scroll wheel to make it a little bit more granular. Those lockers and drop boxes will never be empty again. Now, let's take a second to squash some rumors too. A lot of people have picked up this idea that your dealers need to have a slot or two empty in their inventory so they can break down bricks and jars into baggies, but this is completely untrue. You see, I dug into the code and I found that dealers actually have hidden inventory slots that can hold extra bagged product in, so feel free to completely load them up with product. Each one has 5 hidden slots, so you give them a brick, and when they need to sell it, they'll break it down into jars and baggies as needed. But unpacking things isn't exclusive to your dealers either. If you find yourself with bricks or jars that you just can't seem to get rid of, try breaking them down to baggie size so they can be sold off quickly. Just head to any packaging station, click the little blue arrow until it flips and turns orange, then insert your packaged product and click unpackage. This simple trick can keep you from handing out too much product on all of those late night deals. But if you have the opposite problem and you're strapped for product late at night and know you definitely won't be able to complete your last few deals, there is an easy fix. All your customers will keep the product you sell them in their inventory for several hours, and passing a pickpocket check can put your drugs right back in your own pocket, ready to be sold off to the next customer. Just be sure not to get caught in the act, because they will start to hate you. These tips and tricks may help you level up your game in Schedule 1, but have you ever considered leveling up your programming skills in real life? With today's sponsor, Boot.dev, reaching for those goals is easier than ever. Their learning solutions present information in a fun, easy to understand format that makes understanding core concepts a breeze. Take it from me, I've struggled through sitting in a classroom the same as everyone else, but Boot.dev isn't like that. You can learn from anywhere, your couch, gaming gaming chair, even the bathtub, whatever works best for you. So take that first step towards a career today and sign up at boot.dev. Use my code BIGWILLY at checkout to get an extra 25% off. Your wallet and your future will thank you. Now back to the video. Now this next tip has to do with the early game again. One of the most important things you can do is level up to gain access to new areas of the map, new equipment, and larger customer budgets. Certain activities will grant you XP, which can really make a difference as you're starting your own adventure. Completing quests can grant anywhere from 25 to 100 XP, discovering new mixes gives 80 apiece, escaping the cops if you're on the run gives anywhere from 20 to 60, unlocking customers gives 50, and you can even get XP for completing deals. In-person sales grant 20 XP each, while deals completed by one of your dealers gives 10, and each graffiti gives you a 50 additional XP. This next part will focus on more mid-game challenges, dealing mostly with expansion and streamlining while you scale your enterprise to a whole new level. Starting off with one of the more well-known movement glitches, a skateboard can provide you access to any locked door in the game, no matter what location or what time it is. You see, when you get on the skateboard, your player model is still rendered, but when you first mount, your model is technically slightly behind where the camera is placed. By placing your back to a door and mounting your skateboard, you can use the perspective switch from first to third person to place your model behind a door and open it from the inside. Basically, all you gotta do is get on the board and spam E. This will allow you to access the illegal warehouse at all times of the day, not just after 6 p.m, and ensure you can get your gambling fix whether the casino is open or not. And before you all go saying the casino is a money sink and gambling is not profitable, I'd like to remind you that I dug through the code. In Schedule 1, gambling is one of the most profitable things that you can do. The slot machines in this game are positive EV, which means you're always expected to make money from it unless you're either the worst player ever or the most unluckiest guy in the Western Hemisphere. So pull up Schedule 1, turn on a Netflix show, and spam away at those slots. Now next up, we have a bit of an unintentional glitch, but a profitable one nonetheless. You see, the game is supposed to punish you for bad interactions with the NPCs. Missing deliveries, knocking them out, and all of that typically lowers your relationship with them. But for some reason, failing a pickpocket check actually slightly increases your relationship with a customer. Better yet, the pickpocket check occurs every time an NPC inventory is open, even if it isn't visible. So to take advantage of this little bug, all you have to do is knock them out, dig in their butt to open their inventory, spam spacebar a bunch of times to fail the pickpocket check, and watch as your relationship improves to loyal in just a few seconds. Your suppliers won't do deliveries until you get them up to the maximum loyalty, so this trick is excellent to make sure you get to that point. Now if you get caught pickpocketing and you manage to mess up your nefarious activities and end up on the run from the cops, having a good place to write out your wanted level should be at the top of your list. Thankfully, there are two places in Highland Point that the cops just can't reach you. Top of the parking garage is always a safe bet, and the ladder on the side of the Crimson Cannery also works. Both spots come in clutch if you're looking for a quick way out, because the cops can't reach you there. Now our next tip has to do with the vehicles in Schedule 1, because if you find your cars stuck in a ditch or somewhere they shouldn't be, don't worry. Your character in Schedule 1 is equipped with superhuman strength and a giant yacht. Simply jump on top of the car and crouch. You'll be on your way in no time. Just be careful how you use your newfound power, because this works on every car in Highland Point, not just yours. Now, if you've seen the locked sewers around town but have no idea how to get in, don't worry. There are plenty of ways into the sewers, the easiest of which involves your trusty skateboard and a thin door, but you can also find a key available from Jen in Uptown. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just talk to Oscar in the illegal warehouse and he'll point you to an area of town where a hidden key can be found. But there's also another way to get the sewer key, because he'll give you a description of an NPC that has a key in their inventory. Once you get this key through whatever means you decided, you'll have free, unlimited access to the sewers for whatever nefarious reasons you need. And speaking of the sewers, did you know that you can get free drugs just from patrolling the pipes? Every day, between 1 and 3 mushrooms will pop up around the sewers, ready to be picked, packed, peddled, and pure profit for your growing empire. But protecting those profits, however, is another story. Nothing sucks more than getting that text from your dealer, "Hey boss, sorry, but I got robbed." It can be rather frustrating, especially if this isn't the first time it's happened. I remember when I first played the Cartel update, my dealer got robbed for 60 bricks. The solution is to get those babies some guns. Arming your dealers provides them different levels of resistances to getting robbed, depending on what weapon they have. The best weapon you can give them is one of the M1911s or a shotgun, as they provide the best resistance to getting robbed, and your dealer can never never lose everything if they're attacked. They don't even need ammo in these weapons, just the weapon is enough to scare off any potential attackers. Molly is out here pistol whipping fools. Now with the cartel in mind, let's go over the easiest ways to lower cartel influence. Your first step should be to unlock customers, because the influence gets lowered every time you unlock a new customer. Then you should work on graffiti, as this lowers the influence in the area by another 50 for every graffiti sprayed. You'll also want to keep an eye out for any Benzie dealers and ambushes as you patrol through the streets, as you can drop influence by 100 for every dealer you kill, and 150 for each ambush you survive. Soon, you'll be mopping up the Benzies in no time. Now, if you manage to come across one of those green goons defacing property with one of their awful tags, because seriously, these guys have no artistic skill, don't worry, you can gain influence for that too. Just head to the gas mart and pick up a bottle or two of cleaning spray. Find their graffiti and hit E. You'll immediately erase any trace that they were there, and you'll be able to spray your own graffiti for some more influence. But the Benzies aren't the only trouble you'll run into in Highland Point. Thankfully for us, there is a tiny trick you can use to get rid of the cops forever by abusing their pathing. Get a simple shitbox at Highland Auto for a measly $5K and park it directly in front of the police station's door. The dirty pigs will get stuck and won't be able to exit the police station. Just be careful around the checkpoints, because this trick won't stop those from popping up. Now moving on, I figure it's also a good idea to teach y'all how to equip new items and clothes, because picking out goofy outfits is half the fun of multiplayer. To put on some new drip, press tab to open your phone. Then at the top of the screen, click character. You'll be able to equip all the latest fashion available from Thrifty Threads. And if you're balling out, Harold can hook you up with some straight ice at the boutique as well. But if you're trying to ball out in real life as well, you can get some cool Schedule 1 merch from StaySilly.shop. I've got tons of high quality licensed products available. T-shirts, hoodies, bags, hats, and more. There's even a full Taco Ticklers uniform so you can show your love to the GOAT Kyle Cooley. If you're looking to support the channel and show your love for the greatest indie game ever made, why not do it in style? Again, you can check out all of this merch at StaySilly.shop. Now let's get back to the video. Now, when it comes to selling your drugs, it can be a little tricky to figure out what to price them at. So let me give you a rule of thumb. If you're street rat, hoodlum, peddler, hustler, bagman, or enforcer, you should list your drugs at 1.4 times the suggested price, rounded down to the nearest 10 or so. For example, if your drug suggested price is 83, multiply by 1.4 to get 116, then round down to 110. Pretty easy. Once you level up a bit, your customers will have larger budgets and they'll be more loyal and addicted. So the pricing changes a little bit. If you're shot caller, block boss, underlord, baron, or kingpin, and you have max loyalty with your customers, you can list your product for 1.6 times the suggested amount. That same $83 drug can now sell for $130 instead. And if you're struggling to move around town, whether dodging cops or making it to those late night deals, you may need to break the cardinal rule of dealers and get high on your own supply. Granddaddy Fuel, made by mixing Granddaddy Purple with energy drink and paracetamol, is probably the best movement-centric mix in the game. It gives you athletic, anti-gravity, and sneaky. Your jump height triples, you have more stamina, and you can run faster. Plus, the sneaky means the cops will have a harder time finding you as you run circles around them. It's definitely something to try if you need a little bit of a boost. Now, the next thing I want to bring up is the AC units, because there's a lot of confusion around them even months after their release. AC units, when set to cool, are only good for growing mushrooms, and you do not receive a growth bonus the colder it gets. Once it hits 15 degrees Celsius, your shrooms are good to grow, and any lower than that will not increase how many shrooms you grow. Now, AC units set to heat are good for growing both cocaine and weed, and provide a 50% increase to growth rate at max temperature. The AC can also be used to speed up the drying rate of all of your products on drying racks, with a 50% increase to their drying rate as well, capping out at 40 degrees Celsius. I'd also like to quickly touch base on the additives as well, seeing as how half of you don't really understand how they work. There are 3 different additives in Schedule 1, all with their own different use cases and perks, but selecting one can be a total pain if you don't know what you're doing. Speed Grow immediately grows a plant to 50% growth, but it drops the quality by 1 level. PGR increases the yield of the plant that it's used on, but also drops the quality by 1 level. And all fertilizer does is increase the quality of the plant by 1 level. Now, with PGR and Speed Grow dropping the quality by 1 level each, and fertilizer only raising it by 1 level, you may think that combining all 3 additives means that your quality will drop by a level, but that's not true. If you use all of the additives, your quality will still be standard. It will be the exact same as if you grew it with no additives at all. Most in-game farms use a combination of products to maximize optimize production and profits, so feel free to mix and match to find what works best for you. Now, I'll round out the list of mid-game tips with a basic rundown on employee setups. For cleaners, which most people never use, set down trash cans with their radius of effect covering the area you need. Then use the clipboard to assign a locker and trash cans to the cleaner. For chemists, all they need is a locker and station assignments. Just make sure to set the destinations for their equipment. For example, use the clipboard to set the destination of a chemistry station to the lab oven, or a mixer to another mixer. For botanists, things start getting a little bit more complicated. Assign them a locker and a shelf to take their supplies from. Then set up the pots they'll be using. Each pot needs a selected soil, seed, and any additives you may use. Then each pot needs a destination, like a drying rack or shelf, once the product is done. Botanists are special because they have their own trimmers and watering cans, so they don't need one of them on their supply shelf, but they can't use automatic sprinklers or soil pourers. Finally, we have the handlers, who form the backbone of automation in Schedule 1. They need a locker and can be assigned to work in various packaging stations like the brick press, but their main strength lies in their routes. Setting one up is easy too. Just select a source in the first slot and a destination in the second. You can even pick the delivery spots outside your properties as a source, so any vans you bring in can be automatically unloaded without you having to lift a finger. And before you ask, no, handlers cannot unpackage product for you. If you're mixing on separate properties, you'll have to do that yourself, at least for now. With the early and mid game in the rear view mirror, let's talk about some tips for all of you late game kingpins that need a bit of a leg up when it comes to fully controlling Highland Point. Once your production has really kicked into high gear and you have dozens of employees making, mixing, and packaging your product, things can start to get a little laggy, especially if you haven't hired cleaners. That's where my best friend Clear Trash comes in. With the simple press of a button, all the trash in Highland Point disappears, which leaves your CPU free to focus on things a little bit more important than all of the trash in the streets. Another part of your fully automated production is, of course, the supplies. Any good empire needs a ton of material to get started, and any steps you can take to ease that flow are well worth it. What I'm talking about is supplier deliveries. All you need to do to get Albert Hoover and Shirley Watt to deliver you seeds and pseudo in vans directly to your property is get them to max loyalty. In order to do this, all you have to do is spam dead drops over and over again until you unlock meetups. Then once you get meetups, you can keep buying from them until you unlock deliveries, or you can use the trick from earlier where you pickpocket them a bunch to get their loyalty up. Once you're at max loyalty, they'll send you a text telling you that you can finally order deliveries from them. Next up, we have drugging our employees. With the anniversary update, Tyler allowed us to give products to our employees to make them work harder and more efficiently. Now, I cooked up this mix right here that gives a 50% bonus to all of your employees, but be warned that they will start shitting themselves uncontrollably. It can get a little bit absurd, so if it ends up being too much, just turn down the volume a little bit. And speaking of mixing, let's go over some of the best mixes in the game, which give you some of the best returns on your money, along with excellent effects and addictiveness. In the early game, I recommend Green Crack and Viagra for a nearly 100% addictiveness. For moving around, I recommend Granddaddy Purple with Energy Drink and Paracetamol. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And for the best 4 mix, the most profitable 4 mix in the entire game, you're gonna want to use my own Big Willie combo: Banana, Puke, Horse Semen, and Mega Bean. Again, all the math points to the fact that 8 mixes are not worth it and that you should stick to a 4 mix, but you can feel free to argue with me in the comments below. Now, once you have that drug production process perfected, you're definitely gonna need some optimization for your dealers, so I've gathered the updated list for those. Feel free to screenshot these or just pause the video and make sure your empire is set up for success. This is the most efficient list of customers for all of your dealers. And speaking of optimization, why not put all of your properties to work? Every property, including the laundering locations, can have objects like pots and processing equipment placed inside of them, so why not experiment with new mixes out of the back of Taco Ticklers? Or keep some extra products stashed away in the laundromat so you don't have to travel all the way across town for a re-up. Now, every time you sell a product, you may notice a little pop-up that says bonus, and I want to make something clear about this as well, because plenty of people have been saying that curfew and quality bonuses aren't worth it, and to be honest, that's simply not true. Bonuses can easily account for over 50% of your sales, and they add a ton of money. Whether it's the quality bonus, the rain bonus, the curfew bonus, the early delivery bonus, or the generosity bonus, you should definitely push for these. Specifically playing around hitting each of these bonuses can massively skyrocket your profits after each late night of dealing. Now, this next tip has to do do with customer budgets and making sure that they buy more from you. The most important thing when it comes to customer budgets is your level. Every time you level up, your customers get an increased budget, and this caps out at Kingpin 66. And for all the people shooting for the $10 million net worth achievement, it's important to know that your net worth counts all of your stored product, assets, cars, cash, and online balance, but it doesn't count anything in your dealer inventories. So make sure you pick up all your cash and products if you're trying to get an accurate picture of your empire's net worth. And for our last tip, I wanted to point out two pretty cool websites, ScheduleOneEditor.com and ScheduleOne-Calculator.com. Schedule One Editor is perfect for designing, planning, and calculating costs for your next big build. It has up-to-date items and sizes, and even lets you plan employee routes so your builds are perfectly optimized. Schedule One Calculator will handle the other part of your empire because it works on the back end by letting you design the perfect mix for your next playthrough. Either see what happens after adding each ingredient in a series, or select a product and effects, then let the calculator figure out exactly how to add them together. It makes finding all of those odd combinations for Beth Penn and Jack Knight an absolute breeze. But that about wraps it up for this video. 40 full tips and tricks to help you along while you're playing Schedule One. Whether you're a new player or a returning one, or you've been playing the game non-stop since it came out, I hope I was able to teach you something new. Thank you all for watching. Check out my Discord at discord.gg/BigWilly, and as always, stay silly, y'all.